What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we're going to be discussing Trea Turner and his newly signed deal with the Philadelphia Phillies. We previously covered Justin Verlander here on the channel. I will leave links to that video down in the show notes below. But when we look at Trea Turner, we're going to be looking at 3 takeaways from his new deal with the Phillies. So we begin with number 3. And we have to begin looking at the contract. A $300 million deal was somewhat expected for this player. He's very versatile, has a ton of places that he can play throughout the course of the lineup and also in the field. But what caught many people and many baseball pundits off guard was the fact that it was 11 years on this deal. This is a 30-year-old shortstop playing into his 40s. This is going to be an interesting fit when it comes to this financial contract. When we look at the Phillies lineup right now, there's several players that are making over $100 million on their contract, but none of them, in my opinion, are financially handicapping this franchise. Philadelphia is a big market, and by having this contract spread out over 11 years, the AAV, the average annual value, is $27.3 million towards that luxury tax threshold. This is where it's important for the Philadelphia Phillies, because having all of these players on the roster, but being able to maintain that AAV lower is really where they're going to benefit themselves. We saw it with Bryce Harper signing a 13-year deal for $330 million, keeping his AAV at 25. These are, in my opinion, team-friendly moves. Now, yes, it may sound extremely crazy to believe that a $300 million contract can be viewed as team-friendly, but when you spread out that time frame, yes, the back end of this deal may look very horrible for the Philadelphia Phillies in 8, 9, 10 years from now. But when we look at the way that it will be for the first 5, 6, 7 years of this contract, this is going to be a player that I believe will absolutely help the Philadelphia Phillies long term. When you look at the way this contract will play out, this allows the Phillies to still continue to make moves throughout this year and the course of the entire deal. Because when you look at that average annual value compared to the luxury tax threshold, that's where the benefit of spreading out this contract comes into play. Now, as we look at the second takeaway from this deal between the Philadelphia Phillies and Trea Turner, is that he provides lineup diversity. There's a lot of power coming out of the Phillies lineup right now. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nicholas Castellano, Rhys Hoskins, these are all power bats. By bringing in Trea Turner, you bring in a contact-oriented batter who has a ton of speed. Right now, when you look at the Phillies lineup, there's no real speed at the top of the order. By bringing Trea Turner in, you absolutely infuse a huge amount of speed to this lineup. You make it a very different feeling lineup by adding one single solitary player. You also bring in a guy whose hit tool is absolutely phenomenal. The Phillies lineup went absolutely cold during the 2022 World Series, which is why, in my opinion, they lost. Bringing in a guy like Turner, who has a definite and clear two-strike approach that is different when he's ahead in the count and when he's behind in the count. We have a corresponding article on this video up on laracuenteledger.com. I will leave links to that video, to that article down in the show notes below. But we discussed the fact that Tom Verducci on MLB Network would do a breakdown about Trea Turner. When he's ahead in the count, he would absolutely, with a leg kick, is looking to swing for power. But when he's behind in the count, he has a very different approach. There's no leg kick, and he's looking to just put the ball into play, something that would have helped and benefited the Phillies throughout the course of that 2022 World Series. But now going forward into this lineup, I also believe that the addition of Trea Turner to the Phillies lineup will help not just in the clubhouse, not just in the speed aspect or even the hitting aspect, but also in the mentorship role. Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh come to my mind when it comes to Trea Turner, because I think that looking at his approach day in and day out, night after night, watching the way that he goes about his work, the way that he goes about his ahead in the count versus behind in the count approach, can truly help players like Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh. I think that there's going to be a very big change in their hitting ability and their hit tool going forward from 2023 and beyond because of the proximity to a guy like Trea Turner. This is a player that provides a ton of lineup diversity for many different reasons for this Philadelphia Phillies lineup. But to me, that is going to be one of the biggest benefits for the Phillies is his mentorship and the way that his ability is going to rub off on some of the younger players. And the third takeaway is what's next for the Philadelphia Phillies. And we've already discussed it a little bit. With this contract being able to be lower AAV towards the luxury tax threshold, it allows the Phillies to continue to upgrade their roster. There's going to be needs in the bullpen as well as the rotation. The Philadelphia Phillies are in the mix for a guy like Jameson Taillon. We've been told about that. Chris Bassett would be another fit towards the middle end of that rotation. I think that there's going to be some very big moves that are made by the Philadelphia Phillies when it comes to adding to that bullpen and the starting rotation. There's names like guys like Liam Hendriks that are available via trade right now. We know that there's going to be a ton of movement happening between now and the start of the regular season in 2023. Philly is going to have an opportunity because of having that lower AAV towards the luxury tax threshold, having a ton more space to be able to maneuver in that payroll and in that budget. So for me, the next big thing for Philadelphia is going to be adding to that pitching staff, whether it be via trade or free agency, and whether it's the starting rotation next or the bullpen next. There's going to be some big additions, in my opinion, to that Phillies pitching staff. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts and feelings about the signing of Trea Turner, how it benefits the Phillies lineup, how it may hinder the Phillies lineup? Let me know those thoughts and those feelings down in the comments. Phillies fans, how are you feeling about the deal? Is something that you're excited about? This seemed to be like the number one place that Trea Turner was looking to go to this offseason, but there are going to still be some needs that the Phillies have to fill out. So let me know your thoughts, Phillies fans, down in the comments, or find me over on Twitter at banter_baseball, where we can keep the conversation rolling about those needs that the Phillies might have. As always, keep it locked in to the Baseball Banter broadcast by hitting that subscribe button down below. It allows us to continue growing this baseball community. Let all of your friends that are baseball fans know this is the channel to watch in 2023. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I will catch you guys with the latest news, notes, and my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions on the game of Major League Baseball. Peace.